your forecast first with KSN Storm Track 3, sponsored by X Services.
Those temperatures have really been warming up throughout the afternoon hours today, and now we are starting to see those temperatures eventually start to cool down, but it will be a slow drop in the heat tonight. Temperatures sit at right around 89 degrees here in Wichita, and we are noting a lot of 90s out across the board, especially in western Kansas this evening. So where we head from here is really just going to be a muggier evening. Temperatures only dipping down 60s and 70s through the overnight, and then we are talking about a chance for showers and thunderstorms as we approach the weekend. Details ahead in your Storm Track 3 forecast. Your news starts now.
This is KSN News 3 at 6.
We begin tonight with breaking news. Law enforcement on the scene of a crash on Highway 160 in Oliver. This is a few miles east of Wellington in Sumner County. We do have a crew on the way to the scene, and we are working to gather more information.
All right, good evening and welcome to KSN News at 6. I'm Jeff Herndon.
And I'm Emily Younger. More than 6 million. That's how many people are living with Alzheimer's. The disease kills more people than breast cancer or prostate cancer combined.
And those government stats are just some of the reasons why KU Med in Wichita is preparing doctors to treat and care for their patients in a new way. KSN's Jessica Watson shows us the new technology.
At KU Med, third-year students are getting to go into a whole nother reality to understand Alzheimer's and Lewy body dementia.
It's nice to, hear the things they may hear or see, like how life would be in their eyes.
Empathy and understanding. It's a lesson in the medical field Dr. Tiffany Schwesinger-Smith says is important.
Over time, with all the demands of clinical practice, all the demands that we put on them as far as needing to know everything, experience everything, we do see that empathy is one thing that can start to slip with time.
For the first time, some KU Med students are getting a glimpse into what their future patients may be going through, thanks to these virtual reality headsets.
Gaps in time that move by very quickly, jumbling up of words. What's it like to go shopping and have things being very, very confusing?
So my grandma had Alzheimer's disease. It was just kind of an interesting perspective, like I said. A good insight into what she was experiencing.
The school also partnering with a local at-home health organization to give students the opportunity to take their new perspectives into their practice.
Do I want to? Because I want to be able to not only listen to my patients, but be by their side and feel with them what they're going through.
And the next step is taking this into the community and making more people understand what it's like to go through these conditions. Here for you, Jessica Watson, KSN News 3.
Jessica, thank you. More jobs and more money coming to the Wichita area. A new multi-million-dollar flight research center is planned for NIAR at Wichita State University. KSN's Hunter Funk has details tonight. Hunter.
Jeff, Wichita State is getting a $2.1 million federal grant. The university will also match that funding with another $2.1 million. It will be used to buy large equipment for that center. Now, the grant will give manufacturers and suppliers access to new aviation technology to advance or modify existing aircraft, funding for a maintenance, repair, and overhaul facility, and salaries for nearly 500 new jobs. The grant writer says it will expand the aviation capabilities in Wichita.
Gives us a great competitive capacity and deep know-how that is very unique across the world.
Now, there are more than a dozen job openings right now. The university says it could take years before all 475 positions are filled. Here for you, Hunter Funk, KSN News 3.
Well, fans are no longer allowed at this year's Olympic Games. The International Olympic Committee and Japanese organizers announced the ban on spectators today following a COVID state of emergency. The state of emergency goes into effect on Monday and lasts through August 22nd. The games begin on July 23rd, and you can watch them on KSN. Well, the Butler County Health Department and KDHE are investigating a COVID outbreak at a church camp. The camp took place from June 21st through June 25th at the Wheat State Retreat Center in Butler County. There have been 23 cases linked to the event, with people from 55 communities in attendance. The Sedgwick County Health Director says these events are risky.
People still have, even if they're not wearing a mask, which is still important, because if you cough, you're all packed together. You don't have that protection when someone's coughing and sneezing.
The KDHE is asking those who attended the camp to get tested. A Wichita driver, heads up. The city is debuting a new traffic light system to help make left turns safer. Crews will install flashing yellow arrows at some Wichita intersections. National data shows the new signals may reduce left turn crashes by as much as 20%. The first of the lights will go in on West Street, at Walker, and at Harry.
From our Capitol Bureau tonight, a day after announcing that major improvements are coming for South Central Kansas. Today, Governor Kelly says improvements are on the way for eastern Kansas. There will be 8 expansion and modernization highway projects in the eastern part of the state. More than $297 million has been committed to the construction here. Among the improvements, widening I-70 in Topeka, a new interchange at US 40 and K10 near Lawrence. And tonight, the Kansas Attorney General has filed an appeal on a major abortion decision made by a Shawnee County District Court. The AG is challenging the 2019 decision, which approved dismemberment practices in abortions during the second trimester. In that decision, a district court judge found that a prior law banning dismemberment practices in the state was unconstitutional under state law. Abortion activists say the decision to move forward with an appeal could pave the way for banning abortion completely.
In news from across America, President Joe Biden says the 20-year U.S. military mission in Afghanistan will end August 31st, and that's earlier than expected. The president defended the rapid drawdown of U.S. forces from the country, saying military commanders have advised speed is safety for the troops.
Conducting our drawdown differently would have certainly come with an increased risk of safety to our personnel. To me, those risks were unacceptable.
The president says America has met its objectives in Afghanistan, which include battling the 9/11 terrorists, eliminating the country as a base for future attacks, and delivering justice to Osama bin Laden. Well, Tropical Storm Elsa is roaring toward the northeastern seaboard. The main threats to the region: damaging winds, large hail, and a low risk of an isolated tornado. A tropical storm warning for the Jersey and Delaware shores began this afternoon. Losing power continues to be a concern. Power companies are bringing in resources from around the region.
When it comes to making yourself at home, this burglar takes it to a new level. Yeah, you can see him in this video here. Apparently broke into a home. This is in Washington State, by the way. Got through the unlocked window. Homeowner had it open because of the extreme heat. He made himself a waffle, lean cuisine, and of course he had to use the bathroom.
Individual then kind of turned around and got to the front door, asked if he could get his shoes. At which point my husband informed him, no, he really needed to leave our home.
Authorities found him, arrested him. Deputies say he stole some money and even took some car keys. You know, there is a lot of live music coming to River Festival this fall. Officials just released this year's list of musical acts. Find out who is performing. That's coming up.
You're watching KSN News 3 with Jeff Herndon, Emily Younger, Chief Meteorologist Lisa Teachman, and sports with Alec Osmus.
There will be plenty of live music at the fall version of the 2021 Wichita River Festival. Officials announcing today who's going to be performing at this year's event. The acts include Dustin Arbuckle, Matt Woods, and Wichita's Rudy Love Jr., many others on this ticket here. The concerts will take place at Kennedy Plaza and at Wave. The fall session is going to happen from September 30th through October 3rd. And of course, we have a complete list of all of the acts on our website at ksn.com.
All right, do you think you have what it takes to drive a school bus? Today, potential drivers got behind the wheel at First Student. The senior location manager says they want people to realize driving a bus is not as hard as it looks. She says the need.
We need. That's you know, that's where we're at. Everybody is looking for work or needs to work, and we're looking for drivers, people that want to give back to the kids.
A First Student is offering a start rate of $18.50 an hour, which includes training. All right, the KSN Caravan commences on Monday. We are hitting the road for a summer road trip.
Yeah, Emily, Chief Meteorologist Lisa Teachman, Ronell Williams, and me jumping in the car to meet you. And here's a look at our stops. Man, we've got the state covered. We're going to visit nearly 24 Kansas cities next week, connecting with you, and we're going to share what makes your town unique.
It's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
And we posted our itinerary on our website, ksn.com. Check it out and see when we'll be in your backyard. We would love for you to come out and join us.
A lot of miles there. Live look from our Wichita State Skycam on this Thursday. Is a cool down in the works for your weekend? Big question there. Meteorologist Erica Page is going to answer it with her full forecast. Coming up next.
Now, your Track 3 rate forecast.
I'm meteorologist Page and for meteorologist Teachman. We are going to track a warm and muggy for us, especially as we continue on the end of the work. But if you look towards the north to the Dakota, eastern Montana, this is where hours and continue to erupt tonight. And that will be our bigger weather change as we head towards the weekend, as we wait for a cold front to slip through the region, finally give us some relief from the heat, but also help to spark up some potentially isolated strong to possibly even severe storms. The darker green color, that is that marginal risk where we need to watch for a storm or two that could reach severe thresholds. And our main concerns are going to be with the damaging wind gusts as well as some of that larger hail. And the larger hail concern will start to work back in, especially as we get closer to Saturday. As that cold front continues to slowly push through the region, it will once again help to spark a second round of showers and thunderstorms that will need to be monitored through the evening before we start to finally clear things out by the second half of the weekend. But the hail, the high winds, as well as the isolated flooding concern are going to be our primary concerns as we continue on into the second half of your weekend. We'll take you through Stormcast. You notice most of us staying completely dry through the evening, but all those south winds helping to pump in that moisture, and an approaching boundary could help to spark up a couple isolated showers and thunderstorms out across northwest Kansas, leaving most of us dry through the overnight, waiting until we get closer to Friday afternoon and evening for the additional redevelopment of some of this activity. Notice it will be isolated, I do think, for most folks across northern Kansas through tomorrow evening. So any of those evening plans will need to be monitored for some of that storm activity. And then as that front continues to push to the south, it helps to reinvigorate this line, especially as we get towards Saturday. And you notice some of those colors can look a little bit on the brighter side, and it's because we're working with an atmosphere that has just a little bit more instability to help create a bit more of a punch to some of these storms as they roll on through. So certainly something we're going to be monitoring closely as we approach the weekend. The other thing we have to get through first is a lot of that heat. And heat advisories have been issued for portions of northwest and north central Kansas. This goes into effect at 1 p.m. tomorrow and will linger until 8 o'clock in the evening. And this is why. Your temperatures are already sitting upper 80s, low 90s for your evening hours tonight. But then as we continue on to tomorrow, we're only going to add to that heat just a little bit more. Sky view from Garden City shows a lot of that blue sky, hardly a cloud in sight, so that is what most of us are stepping out to this evening. But do keep in mind the winds, especially across western Kansas, continue to remain elevated. Could see some gusts 30 to 35 miles per hour before we wrap up tonight. Speaking of tonight, temperatures 70s and 60s all across the region as we wait for a little bit more of that humidity to work back in. Winds will stay elevated out across western Kansas, lighter off towards the east, but then we all get in on some of those windy conditions throughout the day tomorrow. As those temperatures once again climb, low to mid 90s for central Kansas. We could even reach 100 degrees before the day is done tomorrow out towards the west. So again, we'll watch for some of those scattered showers and thunderstorms Saturday, and a system passes us by to the east on Sunday. May bring us an isolated shower east of I-135, but largely I do think we are drying out as we start the upcoming work week. North central Kansas, 99 degrees tomorrow, 85 degrees on Saturday. Finally feeling a little bit of relief from the heat on Sunday, but it is brief as the 90s make a quick return Tuesday into Wednesday. Southwest Kansas into the triple digits tomorrow, 80s for the weekend. We'll watch for a couple isolated chances for rain, though I think the better storm potential will sit across northwest Kansas both tonight and mainly into Friday and early Saturday before we clear out the heat. We'll enjoy some of those cooler temperatures this weekend and then bring back the 90s Tuesday into Wednesday. Keep it here. We're back after this.
Tonight's KSN Sports Report is sponsored by Melton Industries.
The Royals are limping their way into the All-Star break. They've lost 3 of their last 4, but tonight they start a 4-game series in Cleveland. Now, Danny Duffy, he has the start for the Royals. Now, despite He hasn't won a start since May 1st. Duffy, he's been a steady starter, though. His ERA is low, and he's found ways to limit the damage, even though he struggled to go deep into games.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. Obviously, a big portion of this game is staying available, and Danny stays available this whole first half, and I think he and Salvi are both getting on a flight going to Colorado. That's where he was tracking, and it was a very impressive start to the season.
Now could be the right time for the Royals to play Cleveland. The Indians, they've lost 9 straight. This one just getting underway from Progressive Field. Well, the Royals' top prospect, Bobby Witt Jr., he returned to the lineup for yesterday's game after suffering a calf cramp. He didn't miss a beat. The 21-year-old shortstop went 1 for 2, 2 walks and a triple, leading the Naturals to an 8-5 win over the Surge. Now, there's only a couple more chances to catch Witt Jr. and Royals number 5 prospect Nick Pratto in action over at Riverfront Stadium. The two are leaving Wichita a day earlier than the rest of the team for the Futures game in Denver on Saturday. Well, the Chiefs, they're 20 days away from starting training camp, and many of those players, they're enjoying what time off they have left. And that means a lot of golf. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, they're playing in the American Century Championship out in Nevada. Now, that starts on Friday, and it's known as the Super Bowl of celebrity golf. These were just practice rounds, but as you might expect, these two have critiques on each other's games.
Patrick Mahomes, in a nutshell, he's just a competitor, man. He figures it out. A lot of times you see in the fourth quarter we have a crazy comeback win. He's a great finisher, but today just is not his day. I'll tell you what. What?
Yeah, Travis Kelce's golf game is a fun watch. You know, you're going to have a couple birdies, couple eagles, multiple doubles, but it's going to be a great time the entire time. It's be a great.
The Shocker men's basketball team has some key pieces returning for this season, and they could be a big threat in the American Conference. Now, one of those pieces coming back is junior guard Dexter Dennis. He averaged just shy of 10 points per game last season, and he started every game. He will be in our competitive drive tonight at 10. Some great perspective in that story tonight at 10 as well.
We're looking forward to it. Thanks, Alec. We'll be right back. Update on breaking news from the top of the show. Law enforcement on the scene of a deadly crash on Highway 160 in Oliver. This is a few miles east of Wellington in Sumner County. Happened around 3:30. The undersheriff says 2 people and their service dog died in this crash. 1 other person was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. We do have a crew headed to the scene. Stay with KSN for more on this story.
Erica has a final look at the forecast.
Yeah, temperatures tonight are going to struggle to see a lot of relief from the heat. We'll be back into the 60s and 70s. Winds will be a little bit breezier out to the west, but tomorrow that the heat really starts to make its punch. I mean, we're going to be talking temperatures low to mid 90s across central Kansas, and where the air can be just a little bit drier, some folks may squeeze into the triple digits by tomorrow afternoon. We do have several heat advisories that are in place for northwest and north central Kansas, so please just take it easy if you have to be out in the heat tomorrow.
Samuel Branham is tonight's winner of the KSN umbrella.
Thanks so much for watching KSN News at 6. Have a lovely evening. We'll see you back here for KSN News at 10.
Weather is sponsored by Nextech, Community Bank, Children's Mercy Wichita, BTI, Hutchinson Community College, Lewis Automotive, Nextech Wireless, Robinson Furniture, Hoxie Implement, Wichita Metro Toyota Dealers. Portions of this program were sponsored by Nissan of Wichita, White Eagle Credit Union,